one drink and Megan's gone.
Any of us intoxicated, really.
Most of the marshmallows. So the weather's getting cooler. I was going to pull the red tips off of it.
That's what she said.
Easy now, Megan.
Easy now.
I have to say easy for one specific reason.
Easy. Oh, where's that from?
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Daily Biting Podcast. Okay, so real quick introduction. Y'all know who I am. I'm your clueless leader, Marcus. As always, for like the past 3 podcasts, I've got Daniel in the house.
Hey there.
Don't burn yourself.
I like them burnt.
God.
I have Miss Stephanie.
Hey there.
I have Miss Muffin.
What's up?
And returning from the middle of nowhere, I have a Lewis.
What's up?
And I have Miss Megan.
Hello.
So by the time y'all hear this, it will be Monday the 13th.
Yep.
But today is 9/11.
Yes.
It is.
So we had 9/11 ceremony at the shop this morning. What'd y'all think of the ceremony?
Yeah, I liked it. It was good.
I
very
think
good.
I think it was done very well. Marcus, you did a fantastic job.
You did it the right way.
Very
Well-
well organized.
Yeah.
I wanted to do something to approach it differently because I've been to so many ceremonies where, you know, you stand there for 30 minutes and a couple guest speakers just kind of get up there and talk and you kind of lose the emotion of the
That's what she said.
the emotion of the event
Well, we're just gonna
or the emotion of what the whole thing is about. And doing it the way we did today, so for those of you that didn't get to make it out to the shop today, what we did was we had moments of silence at each of the points in time. Basically, we have a bell, and I did a slow ring on the bell simulating last call, and stated what that moment of silence for was. Waited out the rest of the minute and broke the moment of silence with the ringing of the bell and went back to play the music. So I thought it was good. I thought it really turned out
I think
well.
it really it tied everything together instead of just one of these, like me and you were talking about earlier, a ceremony where they just say, "Look, this is what happened," and it's one quick moment.
Yeah.
This being the actual times when the planes hit the towers, when the plane crashed into the field, when the towers fell.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of eyes that were getting watery for sure.
Well, I do have to give a thank you to you, Daniel, because you kept me on time. Because I tried to set alarms, but immediately the first alarm went off and it stopped the music from playing. Bill was standing around and the phone was right behind him. So
Well, he was wondering why he was ringing.
yeah, he was like, I don't know what that noise is coming from. But it was a good day. It was a strong emotional day. At the event, we had the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, Collegedale Police Department, Tennessee Highway Patrol, Tri-Community Volunteer Fire Department, and Chattanooga City Fire Department.
Yep.
And then, of course, a whole bunch of veterans.
Absolutely.
Um,
How many people showed up? I don't know if were able to get a count yet of all the bikes that were
so
out
we
there.
have a discrepancy on the
Uh-oh.
counts. We have the count that was made based off of video as the bikes left the dealership. But then we have the count that was made starting from when the trike that was in front of Sean
Yeah.
pulled in. So the general manager at the other dealership made a count at 243.
Wow.
But we had a count leaving the dealership that said 129. We didn't pick up a little over 100 people on the ride.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where, because very easily after we got there was probably 300 bikes in the parking lot after we got there
Absolutely.
for a few minutes.
You had a ton of bikes in the parking lot that didn't actually go on the ride.
Yeah.
From what
Correct.
Yeah. There were a
Correct.
good, there were a good 50, 75 bikes still at White Lightning when we left.
Yeah, I was figuring that we had somewhere between 300 or 400 motorcycles at the dealership this
Yeah.
morning. So
Yeah, it was definitely a good turnout.
Absolutely.
yeah, I was very happy with the way it went. Apparently the route. So I'm going to say this. If you're riding in a big group like that, I mean a very large group,
With a police escort.
especially with a police escort, not every intersection is always going to be blocked because guys have stuff to do. These guys that were escorting a ride today, they were on duty. They took time away from being able to assist citizens to help us with our ride. So do yourself a favor and stay within a respectable distance of the bike in front of you. Apparently that didn't happen. There was a gap. Some people decided to go in a different direction. That was not the right direction. So y'all beat us there because everything got turned around. Y'all ended up on the interstate.
Yeah, that one group that, well, like me and you talked about, I was supposed to be the following up everybody, and they started going down the wrong road. Well, that's there was no way I was going to get in front of 15 people and try to direct them, turn them around. Yeah.
So we went down Lee Highway to Appleton Pike to Little Debbie. When we got to Little Debbie, Tri-Community Fire Department had the intersection blocked for us. We continued down Little Debbie Parkway to Lee Highway. We're at Lee Highway. Collegedale Police Department had that intersection blocked where you turn right onto Lee Highway. And then Collegedale had the intersection at Main Street and Lee Highway blocked for us. And then before we even got to Bradley County, Bradley County was already on the side of the street. So there's the old restaurant across from the guy that sells the flags. Mm-hmm. Bradley County was sitting there waiting on us.
Right on the county line.
Right on the county line. And Collegedale was in the front escorting on their Beamer. I was under the assumption they were going to break off at the county line.
He went.
Yeah, I'll get into that. So we now have Bradley County Constable and Collegedale Police escorting at the front. We get onto APD 40. Bradley County has APD 40 completely blocked off so cars can't come up behind us.
Wow.
As we approach the top of the hill, we just start seeing Bradley County police officers rolling up to intersections. And what they were doing was they would roll up to an intersection, sit in the intersection with their blue lights on. As the constable would get there, they would move on up to the next intersection. So basically it was a everybody go because we've already cleared the intersection, stay tight. Everybody keeps pushing through. You're not going to have an issue. We come around, get on the bypass. As we go down the bypass, we pass another Bradley County police officer. On the bypass, going the opposite direction. He pulls over, turns his lights on, and just sits on the side road with his lights on. We get to the state line, and we have two Whitfield County police officers. One of them sitting on the side of the road with his lights on, and the other one pulled out to escort. Well, we go about another 3 miles, the Bradley County Constable pulls off. Yeah. Collegedale cop is still leading the ride at this point in time. We are a good ways away from Collegedale. He gets almost to Varnell.
Wow.
Before he decides to peel off. I was like, holy cow. So
it was a nice day. He was out there for a ride.
He was enjoying himself. Once again, thank you very much to the city of Collegedale. Thank you to
those bikes look good though.
Lieutenant Hayworth, and thank you to Chief Sapp. Because of y'all did a great deal to help with that ride and made it very good. Also, thank you to Frank Pate. Frank was the one that reached out to the contact in Bradley County and got all that set up for us. So thank you to Bradley County, Cleveland City, and Frank Pate for getting us through your city safely. So we start to proceed into Dalton. As we're coming into Dalton, we pass not one, but two funerals going in the opposite direction. Yeah. And as we first started approaching them, I was like, uh-oh, what do we do?
Yeah.
Because you stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
We didn't stop. So
we did like the rest of the country does and just keeps going.
Yeah, pretty much. For those of you not in the South, whenever you see a funeral, even if it's not a police escorted funeral, in the South it's customary to stop.
Stop, pull over.
Even on a divided highway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yep, and pay your respects to the fallen. Actually, in Georgia, you keep going, they'll pull you over.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially if it's a police led funeral.
Well, I think about 99% of them in our area for Georgia are police escorted. So we're proceeding into Dalton, and there's a lot of traffic. Some of the intersections aren't cleared from cars at the traffic light. So there was a couple intersections where we went into the turning lane, diagonal through the intersection. Everybody stayed tight. We didn't have an issue. But at this point in time, you have Whitfield County blocking the entire intersection too.
Yeah.
So nobody was coming into the intersection. And as we approach the city limits, I look up and I see more blue lights. Dalton City Police Department has intersections blocked for us. So big shout out to Dalton City Police Department. They helped out a ton with making sure that today was a great day.
Absolutely.
I know there were some people that wanted me to put the route out publicly on social media beforehand. I probably could have gave the route, and I kind of wish I had, on the PA before the ride. But I'm going to say now, the reason I didn't put the route out publicly on Facebook is there are some people that have malicious intent. And to know that there's a bunch of people that were out there remembering the sacrifice and paying honor to those people we lost in 9/11, you're better off not. I'll just put it that way. Because there are people that have malicious intent. So, rode on out down to our sister dealership in Dalton, where they had everything free. Free barbecue, free chips, free soft drinks, free
It was a
beer,
good setup. They did a really good job.
and a live band. So, how long? So I hung out for what, 2 hours? I guess it was, hour and
we
a half.
left like right behind you.
Okay.
Yeah, we weren't there very much longer.
There was a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people came down. A lot of people wanted to pay their respects, pay their honor. Like I said, we're recording this today. Is 9/11. You're going to hear this on the 13th, or maybe later. That's when it's going to be out, available to listen, is on the 13th. So, before the next thing. So, the next time we record a podcast will be on a new mobile studio. Got a new phone coming. This phone I have is a piece of crap.
A better mobile studio.
Better mobile.
Yeah, so I've had people ask me about, how do you record the podcast? So you are listening to a recording from an iPhone 8 Plus, just sitting
Which is
there.
why you can't hear any of us.
100% correct. So I am
interested.
upgrading.
When was the last time we actually done one at the dealership?
Oh,
What episode was that?
5 or 6. No,
no.
8.
8.
Because we did trends.
Fine. Yeah.
So some of this episode is not going to be, actually a lot of this episode is not going to be about motorcycles, because I think for each of us today is a very memorable day. So you don't have to say a whole lot, and if you don't want to talk at all, you don't have to. But I'm going to give everybody kind of an opportunity to talk, and I'm going to kind of pass the phone around. So when you get the phone, if you just hold it like this, just don't touch the screen, and everything will be okay. So basically, it's for our generation. We all kind of remember where we were on 9/11. So for me, I was class of 2002. So in September of 2001, I was a senior in high school at Ooltewah High School. I was sitting in Coach Smith's class, and the teacher from across the hall came in, and basically there was no shying away from it. She didn't walk up to him and whisper in his ear or anything like that. She just kind of walked in, opened the door, had just the most ghosted look on her face, and said to Coach Smith, she said, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. He said, what? She goes, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. So he went and got the TV on the cart. For those of you that might be younger than this, don't remember the TV on the cart. We used to not have TVs in our classroom. They used to be on these rolling carts with a thing called a VCR
was
on
a
the
good
bottom
day
tray.
when they brought that in
About
there.
technology, they don't have
Yeah.
anymore.
Friday.
So went and got the TV on the cart, plugged it up, got the signal working, and we sitting senior year in class, we watched the second plane hit live on TV. And I left kind of not knowing what to do. I left kind of feeling lost, coming from a military family. At that point in time, I had one brother that was in law enforcement. And I kind of already had a passion for the fire department because I'd been around it since I was 8 years old. So after some soul searching, not being able to join the military due to physical limitations, I actually became a volunteer firefighter. So I did it because of 9/11. Now, it was a couple years later, but I did it because I saw that sacrifice and I wanted to be the one that people could rely on. So obviously you don't have to go that detailed. Here, you can just tell us where you are. Are we going to skip you? You don't want to talk?
I don't want to talk.
Where were you, Heather?
Where were you at? She was in 9th grade.
I was a freshman.
You were a freshman at Ottawa High School.
Yeah.
Whose class were you in?
I think it was Gamble's class.
Do you remember how it went down?
All I know is he stepped out of the room for a minute and then came back in and said, y'all's lives are about to change forever. And we had no clue what he was talking about. And then we go to the next class and it's on the TV.
Yeah, so I do remember Coach Smith making the statement about we were watching something that our kids would be reading in their history books.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it was pretty impactful moment.
Let's see. I was a lot younger than all of you.
Not by much.
Not by much. I was in 5th grade. And at that time, my school, I was living in Milwaukee. It was before I moved to Two Rivers. And where our school was near an airport. And I remember sitting in class, same thing. It was the TV. They wheeled in the TV and, let us all watched it. And I guess the teacher pulled me and I went into the office. And me, my brother, and sister were all in the office. And we're sitting there, and we're still in shock what was going on. I did know what was going on, but at the same time, I think I was just still in shock, and reality didn't hit. They said our mom was coming to get us. And I didn't understand why mom had to come and get us. I was really confused by that. I remember getting home, and about that time, watching live TV, that's when the first tower went down. And I remember even being, in 5th grade, just bawling because you saw, I remember the news reporter running into a building with the camera and people screaming and crying. And that horrified me. And I felt so bad for those people. And that will always stick with me forever. I think I watched TV. I didn't even go to school the next day, just because it was just such a change and everything. It's kind of sad now looking back on it, how less and less I've been noticing the more years I was in school, especially probably towards my junior, senior year. The moment of silence kind of went away in school for 9/11. It wasn't taken as in a big history changed, how everything has changed, and how important it is to remember something like that, and remember what people sacrifice their life, every day sacrifice their life, even overseas military, even if they're here in the United States, all the way to the National Guard, all the way to the firefighters, the police, everyone. And the weird thing, I know I'm just rambling on, but the weird thing is, the day after 9/11, when they were doing some of the cleanup and everything, it was everybody coming together that brought chills. Mm-hmm. I remember as a kid that stuck with me. Like, everyone helped, even civilians to everyone helped.
9/12.
Yeah, 9/12, where we all came together. And I remember as a kid, that just brought chills. Like right now, it's giving me chills. And I'll never forget, that's for sure. And I just wish today's, I'm sorry. Is that what you guys trying to tell me?
No,
A little closer? Was I far?
He was hitting the box.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. That's all I have to say. Thanks for, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
So, Lewis, I think you're going to have a pretty unique perspective on everything because your family was already involved in the aviation industry at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, before I get into my story, the quick story, my dad
hit
was.
the power button real quick. Make sure it's still recording.
Let's see.
As long as the screen lights up.
Oh yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Yeah. So not even my story. My dad's story was on that morning. He was doing a trip, and they got clearance to take off. Took the runway, powered up. Within 50 feet of the roll off, the tower, which is very, very kind of it doesn't happen. Aborted the takeoff. So stop, abort the takeoff, taxi back to the ramp. Which is even more kind of weird when they say, usually if they do abort your takeoff, it's traffic, something on the runway, something's going on.
Do you remember what time that was at?
I guess it would have had to have been, what was the first? So the first tower, let's see, it got struck at what, 8?
8:46. Yeah, so I saw a thing on TV. So the FAA at one point in time went, all aircraft needs to land now.
Yeah. They shut down the airspace.
Airports that had already taken that step before the FAA had made that call.
Yeah, so I'm going to say
People that were already grounding planes.
realistically, I don't know when they shut down the airspace, and I can't remember when. I'd have to ask him, but I would say probably around 10 something.
Okay.
Probably almost. Yeah.
So
Realistically,
the tower fell at 10:28.
so it would realistically, by the time everybody figured out what was going on, this could have been close to 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Right. So, anyways, tower said abort takeoff, taxi to the ramp. That was all the information. So they taxi back to the FBO, shut down. The FBO, the line service, and everybody already knows what's going on, so they inform them of what's going on. They go inside with the passengers, and they're watching all this calamity go down. That was something that I'm sure he and a lot of aviators will never forget. My story, 8th grade math class, and my English teacher from the next room runs in, and, she doesn't try to hide it at all. Airplane just struck the tower. And we're like, I don't know what the trade tower is.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Well, how did she know? Did y'all have TV up there?
we had old TVs
Did y'all
in
get a
each
letter in the
classroom.
mail or
Were they up
something?
in the corner?
Yes.
Was it a pigeon?
On a stand.
Yep, that's
Yeah.
Only certain classrooms had those. Though.
The fancy one.
Every classroom. We even had PAs.
Well,
They
y'all
were from the
fancy.
40s, but we had them.
We had
They
PA.
still work.
Mm-hmm.
We had PA. They didn't use them though. We also
It
had
was just a
phones in
cup
each
with a
classroom.
string.
Well, we immediately we start watching it, and that's pretty much the rest of that school day, which was
was your dad immediately on your mind though, being that fact that he was a pilot?
He's like,
Were you thinking
I
about your
can't-
inheritance?
I can't remember. I don't think he had any money at that point.
Sorry, Dad.
We love you, Eddie. Although he's never listened to this a day in his life.
So, what was going through my mind at the time, from what I can remember, I don't think there was a whole lot going on up there. And the reason why is because you're so young at the time and you don't really know a whole lot. You don't really know what's going on. I've never heard of a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm not following news. I don't know a whole lot about what's going on. What amazes me the most about it, though, is because how quick everybody knew. Like, your coach came in or your teacher came in and said, this is something, your lives are about to change forever. Immediately, everybody knew it was a terrorist attack. Everybody knew it.
Well, we knew it was
A plane didn't just run into a building.
Yeah, something like
we
this
knew
has never happened.
something. We knew something
Wasn't right.
Yeah.
Because at that point in time, modern aviation at that point in time, that didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
And if it did, it was a small puddle jumper that
Right.
had
Or
a
it was some guy in a Cessna pissed off at the IRS.
Well, and another thing too, I mean, and the reason why I say that is because of I think it was I watched by accident, and I remember that I watched this probably a year ago, the Howard Stern show on 9/11, the morning of 9/11, and people were calling in, and they were saying, you know, it's those guys over in the Middle East, and you know, all this stuff.
At that point in time, he was in New York.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he still might be in New York, but
Yeah, I can't remember where
he was
XM
a
is.
regular. He's a regular show
Yeah.
in New York.
Well, so that's what was weird to me is how instantly everybody knew this was going to be a life-altering, you know, the country's really not going to be the same.
Yeah.
So, yeah, sitting in math class and all that happened. So that was and what was funny, like Megan's parents came and picked her up. I was at football practice that day, like after school, and I still remember seeing an airplane in the air because I knew they'd shut, by this time, we've been watching it all day. I knew they shut down the airspace. I knew this, that, and the other. And I see a little Cessna flying above my head when we're out in the field, and I'm like, immediately, my eighth grade mind goes, that's got to be a terrorist. There is no other way. That has got to be a terrorist. But so that's what I kind of remember most. I remember a few conversations that whatever that Friday would have been when I went to my grandparents' house for the weekend, having a few conversations about everything and, you know, kind of getting my, you know, young mind into perspective.
Would this have been senior at the time?
Mm-mm. Max.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was, I think it was a time when a lot of us did a lot of growing up that day. And we learned a lot about stuff that we had never knew existed or thought of before.
Well, so the reason I ask about senior is because, correct me if I'm wrong, but your grandfather, your namesake, kind of helped found and pushed the Chattanooga Metropolitan Airport into its.
He
its
retired. I think he retired the month before that happened. It was either like the month before or the month after.
Maybe so, but what I'm saying though is the whole thing about your family being in aviation, your grandfather was part of the moving forward force of the Chattanooga Airport.
Yeah, in regards to the FBO side, yeah. Definitely. Yeah, I think he had got out, I'm pretty sure it was like a month before. It could have been even weeks before he retired. And then that happened.
Stephanie?
Well, I'm the youngest out of the group, so I was in 4th grade. So, but I don't remember much of the classroom. I knew we went home early, and mind you, I was in Texas at the time. But the thing that sticks out to me the most is when we get home, my mom is frantic and worried because our dad's out for business. He's out of the state. So I just have a picture. I can see it clearly of us in the living room. My mom's watching TV, and I can see the Twin Towers and just replaying of the planes. And me and my brother, of course, are young, and we're like, is Dad going to be okay? Of course he was. But up until that point, that was never a thought. I never thought people would be so evil to attack civilians. So, but not too much I remember besides that. But it stuck with me.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, as I've gotten older, I've learned more about the event than I did, you know, when I was younger. So,
Unfortunately, though, I feel like a lot of times the more we learn about the event, the more we have questions.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
The harder it gets to understand, wrap your mind around what happens.
yeah. Can I share your story?
Daniel, if you don't want to go into the full story, you don't have to.
No, it's It's all right. So I was in 5th grade out in North Carolina, and another teacher walks into our classroom. We had TVs up in the corner, just like Lewis, because, we were a little bit more modern than Marcus.
Well, remember, you were in what grade?
5th grade.
She was in 4th. You were in 5th. He was in 8th. She was a freshman.
Yeah.
I was a senior. I was almost 18 years old when this happened.
You were almost an adult.
You're the old man.
I was almost. I'm not sure about that. I'm not quite sure if I'm an adult yet. But continue. Fifth grade.
So we had one of the other teachers ran in and said, "We need to turn on the TV in the classroom now. Terrorists have just attacked the World Trade Center, and we in New York, and we're watching it on the TV, and nobody's saying a word, nobody's saying anything." And I knew at that time my dad was actually in New York. He was flying out of New York that day to go on a business trip, and we did not hear from him until later that evening. It was probably 3, 4, or 5 in the afternoon when he finally was able to get a call into a family member just to let us all know that he was okay. But he actually he
Don't cry.
he rented a car in New York, drove it all the way back to North Carolina that day, just to make sure he was back with us. So we were glad that he was.
Yeah, it's for anybody that was of kind of any age. Today, I think, kind of serves as a day of importance. If you don't think it does, then get the hell out of my country. I mean, I don't know any other way to say it.
That's the only way you can say it, really.
The reason I put that out there the way I do, so Sebastian's from France, and I asked Sebastian today. Sebastian was at our 9/11 ceremony, and I said, so Sebastian, I know you weren't in the United States when this happened. I was like, but do you remember what happened? And he goes, oh yeah. He goes, I was doing a radio show at the point in time, and the news came on, and we watched the news live about what was going on, and I was just speechless. I didn't know what to say, because America had always been this bastion of hope and this symbol of freedom, and that's one of the biggest things that the towers stood for. Because if you go back and you look at any of those photos from pre-2001 of New York City, it was always the Statue of Liberty with the World Trade Center Twin Towers in the
It
background.
was called the World Trade Center.
And it was gone. It was no more. This bastion of hope, this safe haven that all these allied countries that we had, they saw, and now I'm kind of putting words in his mouth a little bit, kind of based off what we were talking about. They saw their big brother in distress. So hearing that coming from somebody that wasn't here, wasn't a citizen, had no ties to America, what it kind of meant to him, what he saw and what he felt, the emotion of that day is kind of uplifting to hear those types of things. And me and Heather were talking about it, because in this day and age, with everything that we're dealing with, between what's happening here in America and what's happening in Afghanistan, there's a lot of people I feel like have lost hope. But the people that have lost hope seem to be here. Understand, there's so many people around the world that still see America as a symbol of freedom and a symbol of hope. And there's countries in China, when they were protesting, they were flying the American flag because to them it was a symbol of freedom. They did the same thing in Venezuela. They've done that all over the world. You know, we have a 9/11 memorial that's in New Jersey. Some people have just kind of started calling it the Teardrop Memorial. That was a gift from Russia to us because of what we went through. There's actually a 9/11 memorial in Israel. There was 5 Israeli nationals that were in New York that perished that day. And they've built this monument to honor all of them, to honor not just those 5 individuals, but all 2,900, and we're going to say
66, I think.
66 or 63.
so it's 296, but subtract 19. Do the math for me real quick.
Now, damn it.
Now, damn it.
It's in the office.
So
You gotta-
there's 2,996 people that died on September 11th, 2001. 19 of those individuals, we don't count though because those were the assholes that took over the airplanes. But you know, to hear the phone calls, because it was a modern enough time that people had cell phones. People in the towers were calling their families. People in the airplanes were calling their families. You know, to hear the voice message from the gentleman that was on United 93 telling his wife, he said, you know, terrorists have taken over this plane. I just wanted to call and tell you I love you. I'm sorry.
Call him Beamer.
Yep.
Not going to make it home. We're going to take the plane back.
Let's roll.
Yep.
And
Let's
they
roll.
did it.
Yep.
You know, there were several brave souls on United 93 that knew what was going on. They had already got phone calls and messages about what had happened in New York, what had happened in Washington, and they weren't going to let it happen to someone else. So knowing that it was basically a death sentence for them, they took the plane back over and crashed it into a field in Pennsylvania. You know, they're heroes.
Absolutely.
Everybody that day that went and did everything they could was a hero. There's so many people that walk the streets of New York City to this day that are regular businessmen and businesswomen that were heroes because they worked in neighboring buildings and they went and helped people as they were walking down the street. They were distraught. They took people in. I saw a video about 2 guys that are best friends now because one of the business guys ran out of the Twin Towers without his shoes on. And he saw this guy walking down the street in the middle of the rubble without his shoes on, and he invited him into his house and cleaned him up a little bit and gave him a pair of shoes to wear because he didn't want him out there barefoot.
You want to talk about a badass governor at the time?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Rudolph Giuliani.
Giuliani,
Yeah.
he was great.
So, I mean, I don't want anybody to forget that day. Not because I want people to walk around and go, let's go to war, let's fight the terrorists. Not that. I want people to remember that day because there was thousands of innocent individuals that lost their lives because of stupid reasons. There was several first responders that lost their lives that day for stupid reasons. There was several first responders that weren't even on the job that day. They put out an all call to every single Port Authority officer, New York City police officer, and New York City firefighter to come in. There was guys that was their off day. They were home spending time with their family and went in and never made it back home. So, to anybody listening to this that is a first responder or has served this country in the military, we want to let you know that we love you. We said that last week. We want to let you know that we love you still, though. We should say that every single day. This episode, though, I don't know if we have anybody that listens to it that is, but I'm going to dedicate this episode to the survivors of 9/11. So the children that your parents never made it home, or those people that were in the towers, whether you worked in the towers, whether you went there to help out, or whether you were a first responder, to anybody that survived that, we want to dedicate this episode to you, and we want to say thank you for your sacrifice, because there's a lot that you've had to deal with in the past 20 years that a lot of people don't even know what you're going through. So, from the Daily Biker, we love you all.
Hey everybody, this is Sean at White Lightning Harley Davidson. I want to thank you for listening to the Daily Biker Podcast. You can reach the podcast on Facebook or Instagram at The Daily Biker, or you can email the podcast at thedailybiker@gmail.com. Be sure to keep an eye on White Lightning Harley Davidson social media pages for the most up-to-date information on all our events and where you can find the boys.